All right, so hey everybody. Uh, so my presentation is going to be on cosmic education through theater and poetry. I'm going to share my screen with you guys here. You guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. So a little backstory. I know that my particular presentation is something that's, the Montessori method is a very specific type of education, as it were, right? So basically, do you guys see the video of us at the bottom? Is it blocking my screen?
Oh,
Or,
I can move it anywhere. Like
okay, sweet. You can move it anywhere, so you don't see mine. Okay, just checking. So basically, Montessori education has like a bit of a different philosophy, especially elementary education, which is what I work with. The main philosophy of the classroom is connecting all children to something called cosmic education. And it's basically the idea of interconnectedness that, we are joined to even something as far back as the Big Bang, right? And all of it is connected from the Big Bang to the planets being formed, to the stars being formed, to life coming onto Earth. And we try to, from the ages of 6 to 9, connect children to the greater cosmic picture. And through that, it's easy to kind of connect different strains of curriculum because they see the huge picture. So this is my WordPress site. And I'm gonna start with my welcome post, right? So I just made a welcome post. It's basically just summarizing that I've been in Montessori education for 5 years. When I started studying Montessori, I was very excited about the concepts, like all this stuff was new. I was really wet behind the ears. And one of the fundamental concepts of teaching in elementary and Montessori is that you're introducing children to curriculum through storytelling. So we have something called the 5 great lessons, which I think I've briefly kind of shared with the class, where there's great lessons on different aspects of that cosmic story. So you tell the cosmic story of the Big Bang, then you tell the cosmic story of the planet Earth forming and life coming to it, then you tell the cosmic story of humans evolving, then you tell the cosmic story of humans inventing writing, and then you tell the cosmic story of humans inventing math. And those 5 lessons kind of introduce everything in the classroom. From there, you branch out into studying astronomy or history or anything like that. So I was so excited to hear about these stories. I'd never heard of them before. I became a Montessori educator, but I ended up trying to produce the stories and feeling like my presentation was a little flat. I was trying to fit so many facts into it that I was losing engagement with my kids. So really, this is just a story of me figuring out my connection to the wider curriculum of Montessori, making it work for me and my specific strengths and weaknesses. So for me, I have a theater background. I'm an active admin in a poetry group in my local town of Redlands, California. And so, we make zines and host poetry events and all types of stuff. So I was like, how can I be so good at speaking in front of people and doing poetry and doing theater, but bad at speaking in front of my kids as a teacher? So I decided to just kind of merge the two, if that makes sense. I decided I'm gonna approach group time and storytelling like I would if it was a theater presentation. And I'm going to share with the kids my love of poetry and let them explore the curriculum of my class through poetry. So on my website, I have my About Me tab, right? And I think we've all shared that with each other. Let's see, my computer's a little slow, I think, because I'm hosting the Zoom meeting. Okay, everything is free.
Don't be lucky.
Everything's frozen. Why?
It sounds like your internet connection.
Yeah. Okay, here's my boundary. That took a while, so I hope every single page gets a load like that. So it's just a summary. It tells about my Montessori background. It tells about basically everything that I just described, that I love poetry, that I have a theater background, and that's why I'm into joining these two worlds. Then I have an about me tab, or sorry, an about tab about what cosmic education is, and that, you know, I got my cool little picture of the Earthrise, and it just gives a brief history of cosmic education, some facts, some quotes from Montessori educators, and you know, just giving anybody who might not know what cosmic education is, the concept and understanding of it. I have another tab that just gives some reasons to study theater and poetry, reasons to study cosmic education through theater and poetry. Basically, that linking the broader curriculum with poetry and theater arts is part of showing all subjects are interconnected, which is part of cosmic education, that if I can approach astronomy through poetry, or if I can approach grammar study through theater, that, you know, everything's connected in this world. Number two, using gross motor skills increases academic performance. So I just have like a scholarly quote there about how using theater, games, and exercises is going to help kids actually retain information. And then number three, these activities are just plain fun for students, teachers. I love implementing them with my class. So if we bear with my slow internet, I guess, we are going to go to my tab of cosmic education through poetry. And my first interactive element here is my two twin Quizlets that are my planets in poem form. Such slow internet. I've never tried to do all these things at the same time. So while my planets in poem form are loading, it's a Quizlet. First, it has poems that I wrote to describe each planet, just quick 4-line poems. And in my classroom, the students, those could be on flashcards, the students could have them and they could read the poem and then try to guess what planet it is. So I invite the users that are looking at my WordPress site to try it out, to try the various study modes. I'm so sorry, my internet is slow right now. So once it loads, the second Quizlet is poems that were written by my students. So basically, I gave my students a rich description of a planet. Here we go, finally. My first one, so I don't want to freeze it too much.
Named for the Roman god of travel and speed, he makes haste, orbiting the sun in 88 days. Closest to the sun, yet second in surface heat. From Earth, it's 48 million miles away.
So I just made quick little rhymes, and then that, like I said, I could have that in the classroom. My students could kind of quiz each other on them. It could be a Quizlet in real life too. My second Quizlet is almost the same thing, but instead of the poems being written by me, the poems are being written by my students. So you can see this first one of Mercury is smallest planet in the solar system. It is a rocky planet with no moons and rings. It is the closest planet to the sun and has no season. And there you can see that a first grader wrote that poem. And then this one was really fun to me. It's a poem that one of my third graders wrote about Venus. It is the hottest planet in the solar system. It is also filled with volcanoes, and it has no moons. And it's really cool because you think Mercury is the hottest planet, but it's not. Mind blown. So, this is an illustration of me studying astronomy through poetic form, studying it through me giving the kids poems that I've written using my gift of poetry, and then inviting them to do the same back. I find that when you tell a student to write a poem, it's a lot more likely that they'll enjoy it than if you say, write me a paragraph about Mercury. So that's one of the benefits for me. So those are my twin Quizlets. Okay, I hope it doesn't take so long to get to my nature haiku. So this is like my second interactive element. I didn't put this in my 3. This is just something extra that I thought would be fun. I'm sorry, my internet is so slow. I live in like the middle of nowhere and not really any good internet service providers service me. But this is an invitation, and I'd love to like get everybody to come to the site and actually write a nature haiku. You know, or maybe you guys could do it later. I could post a link or something like that. I wish it would load because it has a beautiful thing about all 4 seasons. Here we go. And then it basically talks about how, there we go. It basically talks about how the seasons are very important in a Montessori classroom, aligning with that cosmic curriculum of like being a part of the solar system and everything like that. So every time a kid has a birthday, we get out this mat called the seasons mat, and kids circle the mat starting at their birth month and go as many times as they've been around the sun. So a student just turned 8 the other day, so she went around 8 times, and we kind of ceremoniously counted out, and it's a lot of fun. So then I name the different dates of the like 4 important turnings of the seasons, right? The spring equinox, the summer solstice, the autumn equinox, and the winter solstice. And I say I regularly invite children to respond to the study of seasons through poetry. So down below, I invite you to do the same. Please write a haiku that represents your favorite season. Remember that haikus are 3-line poems that typically follow the scheme of 5 syllables for the first line, 7 syllables for the second line, and 5 syllables for the third line. And then I just included like a sample haiku from me. So this is fall tree, and obviously written from the perspective of a tree by me. Leaves that don't serve me, descending from my branches deciduously. So it's just an invitation for anybody who comes to just show this would be something I would do with my kids. Write a poem in response to the season, or write a haiku in response to, insert anything. Write something about the common needs of people, or write something about the solar system, or write something about a book you just read. So this is just integrating poetry into the larger curriculum, and my kids have a lot of fun with it. And you'll see when we get to my my grammar video, if it will load. You'll see like my children's work samples. Okay, so let's go back and go to one of my next elements.
That's a great idea. I'm just gonna say that. I was talking.
Yeah, I wanted to make like one more of the like Google Docs like that, but I just ran out of time, as with most things.
And you can always do it later.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do. I wanted to do one where I put like a certain grammar pattern, and then invite whoever's coming to my site to write a poem with that grammar pattern, if that makes sense, like verb, or article, adjective, noun, verb, or something like that. Okay, so this next one, still in like that kind of poetry bracket, using poetry to study grammar. And again, I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to fill space because my computer's probably gonna take 1,000 years. Oh, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought. So this is a Spark video that's just a really quick view of how I would encourage my students to study grammar through poetry. So what you're going to see whenever it loads is you're going to see work samples from my students, and you're going to see that they're using what we call the Montessori grammar symbols to put the parts of speech, if that makes sense. So my video describes this, but I mean, it's taking 1,000 years to load, right? My video describes this, but the Montessori grammar symbols are basically, there's 9 parts of speech. There's my video. There's 9 parts of speech, and every part of speech in the Montessori method has a symbol. And something like a noun is a square-based pyramid, and it's very grounded because it's an object, right? And then a verb is a sphere, so it's moving, right? It's showing movement. So is it okay if I just play this video? It's a pretty quick one. Okay, cool. So. So obviously on the website, you could make it bigger. These are fall poems from my kids. This is just like a random story poem, but you can see the symbols. So they write the poem first, and then they put all the symbols of grammar to show that they understand what part of speech each word in the poem is. So yeah, so that's just like a sample of what we might do in a day, you know, that if we wanted to study prepositions, we'll be like, okay, write me a creative writing poem, and you could just include prepositions in it and symbolize them with the grammar symbols. But really, I feel like the kids in my class are enjoying the freedom of creativity that they get from like using a poetic approach instead of just being like, here's a boring sentence I wrote. Tell me what this, you know, tell me what parts of speech, everything in it. They're using their own words. It's like engaging for them. Okay, so that is all of my poetry stuff. And then I don't think I want to play my whole theater games video. I had quite a bit of technical difficulty with making this video. I'll play a little bit of it. So the context here is, this is just video of my class. Now I put on here, I have electronic waivers to use my students' images in all of my educational purposes. So I did get permission from all their parents to have their video on here. And you know, this is gonna be like the only kind of context I'm gonna be sharing it in.
Right.
So
that was my first question.
yes, it says I have received permission waiver from all my students' parents to use these videos for my school project. And in addition, my school just actually gives an option as soon as every student enrolls, if we can use their image for advertising or for whatnot. All the kids in my class their parents have agreed to using them. So I don't have anybody in my class right now that has denied the electronic waiver. And then I also asked, you know, additional permission for specifically using for my college. Okay, so this first game is, it's basically when we study early humans, we talk about how there was a time when humans didn't have spoken language. And that kind of usually freaks the students out because they're like, wait, how did people communicate with each other if we didn't have speech? And so we play charades to illustrate how we could communicate what we need to somebody or what we're feeling to somebody without actually using our words. So I'll just play a quick one. This video is not the most wonderful video I've ever created. So, I mean, fair warning, but. Oh, never mind. This one was a skeletal system first. I thought there was a different video first. Okay, so this first one is the students trying to pretend that they're walking around without a skeletal system.
Everybody stand up, please.
It gets chaotic.
And give yourself a little room. Be mindful of your neighbors. Now, friends, remember that the skeletal system helps us hold our body up and create structure for our muscular system and for movement. But what if we did not have a skeleton? What we're going to pretend in a second, when I say 1, 2, 3, so we're going to pretend that we have no skeletal system. So when you're ready, 1, 2, 3.
Utter chaos.
Try to move. Very good. Okay, guys. Now you now have a skeletal system again. Let's sit up calmly where we are. On your bottom. On your bottom. On your bottom.
I clipped the chaos before they all got on their bottom.
Why do you think your brain wants to pretend? Why do you think your brain wants to fall over when you do not have a skeletal system? Raise your hand. Why is that the way we would act it out? Maggie?
if you didn't have a filter, and if you tried to move, your face went over. It's like in the movie.
Here's the charades. I'll kind of cut this one. We don't have to watch the whole thing.
Okay. Kennedy, you're good. Maybe the raising hand isn't going to work as honor system on who says it first. Okay, Kennedy, your turn. It would be easier if there wasn't such a natural instinct to shout it out the minute you got it. Adam? Riley V. Jacob?
So Jessica, when just a question.
That's
So
awesome.
That is awesome. It is awesome.
Yeah. So
You have a fun job.
So I do have a fun job. It is amazing every day. I mean, it's just so awesome. So and then like after, I won't play the whole thing. It's a 10-minute video. I wanted it to be shorter, but by the time I was telling you that I had problems, the video that I took flipped upside down, and so I had to like import it in, export it, flip it right side up. It was just chaos. So by the time I got to editing it, I was just like done with it. So I might, for the finished product, edit it a little bit better to make it not 10 minutes long. But essentially, it's that, and then you see the kids responding to you, talking over why we just played charades, what the learning was from it, you know, that humans communicated non-verbally before they communicated verbally. I'll play a little bit of this. It's fun. We did this Reader's Theater for Thanksgiving. So a Reader's Theater is like a really traditional way to incorporate theater in a classroom, even non-Montessori classrooms, right? So it's, you know, it's just a way for reading fluency. And basically all the kids have a script in front of them, but they practice the script over and over till it sounds fluent, and then they kind of perform it as a story. So this is the one that we performed for Thanksgiving, and it's based on a Native American tale called Holding Up the Sky.
Yeah, definitely. Right?
Long ago, the sky was very close to Earth. The sky was so close that some people got right into it. Most people were not discovered.
One of my students has the hiccups in it. Sorry.
People were not happy that the sky was so close to Earth. Some people kept bumping their heads on the sky, and there were many others.
Oh, that hurt. I just hit my head on the sky. Again.
Great. So Jessica, what I would suggest when you're presenting this is to break this up into a series of videos based on what your topics are.
Okay. That's so like each one being one video instead of 3 videos.
Yes, and I think that you could add a quiz, or if you wanted to put this in.
I wanted to put a Quizlet. It was just, by the time I made the video, I didn't have time to create the quiz, or to not a play pause it, not a Quizlet. But I do, for the final, want to add like a little Quizlet in here, like before the kids answer a question that I asked, for it to pop up that you could give an answer or something like that.
Right. Or additional, right. So teaching tools for teachers.
Yes, exactly. But like I said, this, out of everything on my site, I feel like it's mostly finished. This is the video that's like not yet perfect.
But it's almost there. I mean, it's so much to work with, so that's awesome.
Yeah, okay. Or just play a little bit more.
But we do need to get to
Oh, okay.
the presentation. But we will definitely go through it when you post the final.
Okay.
But I would love to see that broken into 3 videos or topics.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, that way it won't be 9 minutes long. That's good enough already.
And you do want to try to keep them to 3 to 4 minutes if you can for teaching tools, and then create an opportunity for students to reflect on what you're saying for your audience. So they can...
Definitely. Yeah, I wanted to make a play posit for it. So then I included like my storytelling sample of the Dawn Child. That was my Adobe Spark video. Just as like this is the type of storytelling that I would do with my students in class. We don't have to watch it. And then, but you know, it just talks about how the Dawn Child is a fictional girl who is illustrating a real mathematical discovery of, you know, making tally marks on a stick to mark how many objects you see.
Right.
And then the last thing that I have on my site is just a list of theater games and what educational concept that they can teach. And like some of them included, so like charades, open discussion about how humans communicated before language, Pictionary, you know, you could talk about ideograms, hieroglyphs, the invention of writing, the no skeleton game, skeletal system, common needs of people skits. We'll draw names out of draw topics out of a hat for this. So we'll choose a common need of people out of a hat. So like shelter or transportation or medicine. Then we'll choose a time period of history, like the ancient Egyptians or modern day or, you know, Renaissance. And then the kids will have to create a skit based on what they choose, basically. And so seeing how the humans met that specific need in that specific time period. The reader's theater, you know, that's what we talked about reading fluency. Invention skits, so children study an invention that impacted the course of history and then make a skit about what that day might have been like for the inventor. And then a president puppet show, so the children can research a president and then perform a puppet show that details something memorable about that person's presidency. So just like examples, I want to add a couple more of the types of things that I do to integrate like theater and theater games into like the everyday routine of my class. So yeah, that's my site so far. Thank you.
Fantastic. You have a lot of very rich content, so that's awesome.
Cool.
So suggest comments from Melissa or Greg?
Only thing I would say is that a couple of your Spark slides on your presentation, you might want to lengthen a little bit. I read pretty fast and I didn't get through them. I think it was the second to last one, and then there was one other one just that had a lot of content that I couldn't fully read.
Okay.
So I might just suggest, that's just a small comment, but.
Yeah.
And then one other, actually, this is just a question. For that YouTube video you did, were you able to use your UMass account, or did you have to use your personal account?
It's my personal account.
Okay, because yeah, I couldn't use my UMass account to upload it.
There was something about like that feature wasn't a part of the UMass account or something like that. It's on my personal YouTube, and like I don't mind it being on my personal YouTube, but like there's like videos of me doing poetry when I was like 20 years old on there, and I'm just like.
Yeah, that's why I avoided that.
You can unlist them. You can unlist those videos so no one can see them.
Just in case somebody starts looking through that for old things.
Yeah, I know.
You can always go into your YouTube studio and you can change them to private or unlisted. So if they're unlisted, only people with the link can see it, and if they're private, only you can see it. No one can see it. So that's a good option if you're gonna use your private YouTube and you don't. There's old stuff that you're like, oh my God, get rid of this. You can just go into the YouTube studio.
And you actually bring up a really good point in that when you leave UMass, if you've uploaded these videos to Zoom, you might lose access. So that was the advantage of using YouTube as well to store those videos. So that's something to keep in mind. If there's something that you're uploading to the cloud on Zoom and you want to take it with you, I would call tech support just to make sure after you graduate how long those videos are still available and how long you still have access to that account.
Cool.
Just a heads up on that. And if you want to keep something, download it and put it on YouTube.
If you record to the Zoom cloud, can you still download it to upload it to YouTube?
You can. Okay. All right. So we'll thank you very much, Jessica. That was awesome. So, so we're going to, what's that?
I'm going to go open my room.
Oh. So we'll log out now and then we'll go into Melissa's room.
Cool.
Thank you.